Good day to you and welcome to the Stade de France on a blustery and overcast Parisian evening for this 9th stop of the Samsung Diamond League and the penultimate stop for European competitors before those Continental Championships kick off in Barcelona, now just 11 days away. Paris, of course, is one of the great jewels of Northern Europe, and whichever way you look at the French capital, be it the arts, the sciences, sport, or indeed just café society, it's done well here. The architecture's not bad either, and this wonderful arena, the Stade de France, on the northern perimeter of the city, hosts many of the world's very best runners, jumpers and throwers this evening. Amongst them, the quickest man ever, Usain Bolt, who won over 100 metres in the final race of the evening, who will run in that final race of the evening. His compatriot Asafa Powell goes up against him. They share the world #1 spot. 24 degrees, although it's blustering, it really doesn't feel that warm, I can tell you. The track programme about to get underway. It's already well underway on the infield with one or two field events coming to their conclusion. And of course, it's all about those diamonds that are up for grabs at the end of the season. Each discipline, and every discipline represented, remember, in this 14 meeting series, receives a $40,000. Well, that's what goes to the winner.
Start list then for our very first event. Rennie Quo of Trinidad, it's the men's 400, of course. Michael Bingham of Great Britain is in lane 2. Jonathan Borlée of Belgium in 3. Jeremy Warner, the Olympic champion of the USA, or former Olympic champion, in 4. Leslie Jones of France, the French record holder. Jermaine Gonzalez of Jamaica. Greg Nixon, the American champion, and David Neville of the USA. Rennie Quo had a really excellent World Championships last year. Bronze medal in the final in Berlin. World Junior Champion back in 2006, still just 22 years of age. Well, Great Britain hoping that Michael Bingham can head off to Barcelona with the likes of Martin Rooney, heading for individual medals as well as, of course, in the 4x400 relay. And indeed Belgium, well, they've got the two twins, Jonathan and Kevin. Jonathan here tonight, he's recently run under 45 seconds, 44.94. He's inside Jeremy Warner, former Olympic champion. Well, he says he's starting to come back to his best. That remains to be seen. He's still looked a little ragged. He's had all sorts of injury problems this year after surgery last year. There'll be a big cheer here in Paris for Leslie Jones, the French record holder. 45.25 this year, but he loves this track here in Paris. Outside him from Jamaica, Jermaine Gonzalez, one of the quickest men in the world this year. Hasn't quite found the consistency yet that I think he'll want. Neither is this man here. This is Greg Nixon. Only Warner has gone quicker than him. He did win the American Championships when Warner pulled up after a bit of a hip flexor problem. And then David Neville, the Olympic bronze medalist, on the outside. So a good race to get us underway here. Warner, of course, expected to win, but that inconsistency that we've all witnessed over the past couple of years still dogs him. He was so dominant, wasn't he, for a while? I suspect, though, unless the likes of Greg Nixon and perhaps Gonzalez can rediscover some of their best form of the season, Warner should be able to handle this field. Watch out for Borlée and Bingham. The Europeans, of course, with Jones, will have their own battle here. Borlée's in 3 inside Warner. Like that. Warner taking a long time to settle. The getaway safely first time, the men's 400, with Warner starting pretty quickly, already up on Leslie Jones, but of course Jones always finishes fast, and they'll head into a little bit of a stiff breeze down that back straight. Warner trying to get through this first 200 quickly. Gonzalez is going well. Nixon has started terribly in lane 7. But it's here where the action is. Borlée trying to get back on terms with Warner, but he's looking as though he'd come into the home straight with only Gonzalez close to him. Gonzalez in the blue. In 6, it's Warner and Gonzalez together. And the tall Jamaican really pushing Warner. Now here's where sometimes he falters in the home straight, Warner. But he's looking good tonight. Gonzalez trying to get back on terms. He's closing the gap. Will he get there quickly enough? Warner hangs on. Gonzalez takes second from Borlée in third. 44.50. Well, he says I'm getting better. It's coming in increments. He wants to get close to 44 seconds. It is the fastest in the world this year. For me, he still looks as though he's missing that training, which he said he lost with his injuries at the beginning of the year. Maybe we're going to have to wait another 3 or 4 weeks before we see the best of Jeremy Warren.
Well, Steve, that's by far, for me, the best Warren has looked this year. Much, much stronger through the last 100 metres. He noticeably, visibly kicked hard with about 130, 140 to go, and he maintained that form well. All credit to Gonzalez there in the blue for coming back at him really strongly down the home straight. But Warrener, well, he's been searching and searching, frankly, for the last couple of seasons for his form of days of old. But I think there's something close to it now. He's only a couple of strides away there from the low 44s that he used to churn out on a regular basis. That's a really encouraging run, as you say.
Yeah, when he was at his best, he used to really come around that top bend, didn't he, and open up, and he came into home straight kind of dominant and then maintain, and he doesn't have that advantage now, so he has to really work hard, like I said, hold the form well, which he does. Gonzalez did put him under pressure, but not quite enough, and he's looking good here, a little more relaxed than perhaps we've seen him. Good run from Gonzalez. I said he wanted to start to find some consistency. Commonwealth bronze medalist, and he may well be rewarded with a quick time here. Wasn't far away, was he, from our winner here in the first event?
Well, a really encouraging run from Borley, too, in third place. A national record for the Belgium in third, 44.77. That was some race, and it suggests conditions down there on track level are actually very good. It's quite blustery up here high in the stands. Well, there's the scene in the arena, which has been gradually filling, steadily filling over the last hour or so. The pole vault, by the way, is well underway, and some rather dramatic news from that one, which we'll bring you shortly.
So, final results. Warren that time rounding down to 44.49, fastest in the world this year, and indeed a personal best for Jermaine Gonzalez. And Borley running very well indeed. He's going to perhaps now look as though the favourite, or could be the favourite, for the European Championships coming up shortly in Barcelona. Those are the points that have been accumulated so far in the diamond race over 400. Warren are well ahead. Well, there's a familiar face, Tim, Eunice Barber, who their suggestions this could well be her last competition here in Paris. She's trying to qualify for the European Championships in Barcelona. I'm not sure what sort of shape she's in.
Yes, that's right. She's doesn't look in the best of shape for me. When she was in her prime, she was an astonishing athlete, was Eunice Barber. But now 35 years old, and frankly, we've hardly seen her for the last 2 or 3 years. Good height there. You never lose it, do you? Still a wonderful technician. Barber at her best is a 7-metre jumper, of course. 6:41, not a bad opener. Now this is dramatic. This is Steve Hooker, third attempt at 5 metres 40. And as you can see, the Australian, who in his last 3 competitions has cleared 5.80, whose season was gradually rounding into good form, having a bit of a disaster in the Stade de France here tonight, and what a disappointment. He's up against Renaud Lavillenie, who is, of course, passing this height, the world #1, who is unbeaten this year, the Frenchman, the current French darling, because Tamgo has had to pull out of the triple jump tonight. Steve, that's a real blow to Steve Hooker, who's normally so consistent.
And he has been vaulting better, and I think you're going to see here there was nothing wrong with the vault as such. It was just the high point, and it was he was miles over this, miles over it, and he comes down and just catches it. He doesn't have the penetration over the bar, and that's something which he's struggled with. He said, I think I've been correcting it. You're right, Tim, he's been better in the last 3 competitions after a couple of no heights early in the season. It's his birthday today, by the way. He's 28. He's not enjoying it at all. He said that is a terrible performance there from Steve Hooker again, and he really has to get some consistency again. This women's long jump was shaping up to be a really tight competition. Reese from the USA, Brittany Reese, world champion, was so dominant last year. Women's long jump really finding new levels this year in terms of the amount of women who are jumping around the 697 metre mark. As we were saying, that breeze is just kind of moving around a little bit. They're right tucked in the home straight here under this stand.
This is Clavier of France. He's the French #4, and he too having real trouble. That's at 5.60. He only cleared 5.40 at his second attempt. I say Clavier, that's Menil. Apologies. But Menil there, twice World Championship silver medalist. And Roman Menil, who got over 5.40 at the second attempt, clearing 5.60 there, failing 5.60 there. 2 attempts to go, of course, but clearly the blustery conditions are causing a few problems. There's been an awful lot of men failing their opening height at 5.40 and getting over the second time, about 6 men. Obviously, Menil was one of them, and 5.60, only one man over so far. Well, there's the main man, Usain Bolt, who takes part in the final race of the evening and one of the great clashes of the season. His first dust-up with Asafa Powell. Seems kind of ironic that they come from the same little island in the Caribbean.
I think we're going to see a few shots of him tonight. He's introduced to the crowd a little earlier. I think he was surprised when he walked out not to find this stadium full, and I'm a little surprised there's not more people here, given the fact that we're going to see this great clash tonight. Normally Paris really does sell out, and maybe we'll get a few more coming because perhaps they've had a look at the timetable and know he's on right at the very end.
There's the scene.
Well, we've got an interesting event now with this European Championships, of course, beginning just over a week's time. Barcelona, a chance for the best of Europe's relay teams to have a run out here. Great Britain, France, Italy and Poland. Great Britain quartet in lane 3. Jeffrey Lowell-Balogun will hand to Craig Pickering, then Marlon Devonish and Mark Lewis-Francis. A lot of experience in the team, but also introducing the likes of Lowell-Balogun here to an opportunity for him. Christian Malcolm's out with the squad as well. But it's Lowell-Balogun who's been given the job on the first leg here. Now the French team, I think, are going to be very good here. Not only tonight, but in Barcelona. Pognon, Christophe Lemaitre, the man who has run under 10 seconds. And we'll be seeing in the 100 later on. And Banjok will bring them home. Strong Italian team, Donati, Collio, De Gregorio, Tomasiccio. And then in lane 5 it will be Poland. And teams don't get too many opportunities to be tested at this sort of level, so really important that they use this chance. But this French team, they've also got a young junior who's out of the World Juniors, Jimmy Vicou, who's recently run 10.17, who they say they will bring back. They'll fly him back from the World Juniors to slot into this team, probably on the 3rd leg. So I suspect that Pognon, Lemaitre, who run the back straight, and then Banjok will stay with Pierre-Alexis Pessono, who's on the top bend. Well, he's got a chance to tell the selectors, well, if it goes well tonight, keep me in. So the French in 4, Great Britain inside them in 3, Italy in 5, Poland 6. Long hold from the starter, but they get away safely. Lowell-Balogun of Great Britain has started quickly up on Pognon. Now the French are starting to have a bit of problem. That's not going well for them. Lemaitre will get the bat now, he won. That's a terrible changeover, and France are out of it. So Great Britain up against Italy, who've started well. Now will they get the baton round safely here? Marlon Devonish takes it from Craig Pickering. He's got a bit. Italy perhaps still with the slight lead with Gregorio on the top bend. Devonish trying to get on terms. We'll give it to Mark Lewis-Francis, and it's going to be very tight. This Italians with a slight advantage. Tomasiccio coming home, but Mark Lewis-Francis running him down. Great Britain are going to take this one, perhaps right on the line. Italy fighting back, and MLF crosses the line. We're in a time of 38.70. It's not super fast, and I'm not sure that any of the teams had too much to shout about there, but it'll be the French who look at that and say missed opportunity, missed baton in fact.
Exactly what you don't need, isn't it? 10 or 12 days before those European Championships get underway for the French squad in front of the home crowd too. That brought the stadium to silence pretty abruptly. It's a solid enough performance from the British quartet. They got the baton round well, each of the changeovers pretty good. And Well, if you look at the last 10-15 years of British sprint relay consistency, it's been a little bit lacking. They can be well pleased with that. Plenty of experience in that team too, Steve, of course, with Devonish and Marc-Louis Francis on the final two legs. And I think Mark here actually did take over a metre or so down. It gradually runs down the Italian Tomasicchio there, wins it by a short metre. Well, Villani in this pole vault, of course, the darling of France here. It is opening at height, and that's 5.60. Pops over it, no trouble at all. He's only the second man to go clear. The other Czech, Michal Balna. I can tell you that no less than 9 men have failed their first attempt at this height. If you've just joined us, well, shock news that Steve Hooker failing his opening height of 5.40, and as you pointed out, Steve, Hooker was probably about 2/3 of a metre over the bar, but came down the top of it.